There is a shadow hanging over our team that everyone seems to be ignoring, but I'm not going to let it slide. While everyone else is focused on the lights in the field, there are decisions being made right now, behind closed doors, that could decide if we end up at the top or hit rock bottom in 2026. The tension is real, and what I've got to tell you today is going to make a lot of people question the direction of this franchise. It's getting serious, and the question is, are we ready for the truth? So hit that like button and stick around until the end, because this could change everything. Raiders Nation, did you see what Max Crosby posted? He called Josh Jacobs a living legend. It's a show of loyalty, sure. The guy is our captain. He never turns his back on a brother who's been in the trenches with him. But this is where it starts getting complicated and, honestly, a little uncomfortable for us on the outside. Because while Crosby is hyping up Jacobs on social media, the real world out in Wisconsin is on fire with some heavy accusations against our former RB. We're talking about a record that includes battery, domestic abuse, strangulation, and victim intimidation. And I'm asking you, where do we draw the line on loyalty as fans and as athletes? I get where Crosby is coming from, I get the bond they built here in Las Vegas, but when you look at how serious these allegations are, doesn't that living legend message sound weird? Doesn't it feel like we're putting the sport above values that should be non-negotiable? Nothing is confirmed yet, keep that in mind. Jacobs' lawyers, David Chesnoff and Richard Schonfeld, are doing their job, denying everything and asking for caution. And I agree, the legal process has to play out, innocent until proven guilty. But the fact that the Brown County DA asked for more time to investigate, that's got me really uneasy. If this goes south and the evidence is confirmed, what happens to the player's image, and by extension, to everyone who supports him publicly? The light Josh Jacobs is under right now is the worst possible. And we can't forget that while this hurricane is happening off the field, our focus here in Vegas is somewhere else. Max Crosby is getting ready for what promises to be his revenge tour. After a 2025 that was a collective nightmare for the team, the guy has blood in his eyes. He wasn't happy at all seeing his name dropping in the ESPN rankings, falling behind guys like Will Anderson Jr. you see. His tweet, "More is needed, got work to do." That's the Max we know, but there's one detail nobody likes to talk about because we're scared to admit the truth. His body is crying for help. The league execs love his motor, but everyone agrees that the insatiable desire to never leave the field is what's killing his knees. We saw that in the near trade with Baltimore. The guy failed the physical. If that happens again, if his knee doesn't hold up, our season is over before it even starts. The hope is that the team has finally learned its lesson. Signing Malcolm Kuntz and bringing in Kwity Paye, is that a strategic move or just a band-aid for a wound Crosby refuses to let heal? I want to see Max destroying QBs, but he needs to be healthy in December. And if he insists on playing through pain, this front office strategy is going to go down the drain. Are we seeing a shift in mentality or just another risky bet with our biggest asset? I don't know about you, but I'd rather have an 80% Crosby all year long than 100% in September and gone by November. The fans' patience is running thin, and Max needs to understand that sometimes less is more. The debate is open. Is Crosby pushing it too hard, or is he the only one left with that Raider spirit in the locker room? Drop a comment below. I want to know if you agree he needs to pace himself, or if we just have to let him be who he is, no matter the cost. Something is shifting in Henderson, and maybe you guys haven't realized how deep it goes yet. Fernando Mendoza, our QB, the guy we put all our chips on after a catastrophic year, decided to open up on Max Crosby's podcast. And what did he say? He basically confessed that the life of an NFL QB is a daily psychological stress test, and that the star treatment he brought from college was thrown in the trash by Klint Kubiak. Forget the Heisman, forget the college championship ring. Mendoza got here with the healthy swagger of a guy who knows he's good, but Klint Kubiak doesn't care about that. Kubiak is all about the details, the fine print. When Mendoza hits an incredible pass, makes a highlight reel throw, he's waiting for a pat on the back, some recognition. And what does he get? A lecture because he was half a meter off on his drop back depth. Is that good coaching or a mistake that could cost our QB his ego? Word is, Mendoza was used to Cignetti's style at Indiana, who is another film room obsessive. These two coaches, sons of legendary head coaches, share the same DNA of brutal perfectionism. They don't want players, they want machines, and Mendoza admitted it. Sometimes he looks at the coach and thinks, "You've got to be kidding me." But will this constant, the ego must die pressure work for a rookie who needs absolute confidence to lead a franchise in an identity crisis? If this really happens, and Kubiak's plan actually works, we could be looking at one of the most accurate and disciplined QBs in the league. But what if this overcoaching ends up killing the kid's creativity? Mendoza has an aggressive playing style. He doesn't shy away from contact. If you prune the roots of a player like that too much, you run the risk of turning him into a predictable robot, one of those guys who freezes when the game gets tight and the scheme doesn't work. And there's talk that this everyone is equal treatment is exactly what the Raiders were missing. No more star power, no more making excuses for guys who don't produce. But let's be real, we're in the NFL, not college football. The superstar treatment vanishes the minute you step on a pro field. The question is, does Mendoza have the thick skin to handle this level of demand without collapsing under the weight of carrying the hope of an entire nation? I don't know about you, but seeing a rookie who's so grounded, who eats his chicken nuggets and accepts being held accountable for every inch, is a mix of hope and worry that has me anxious for kickoff. We need someone who won't break under pressure, but we also need someone who has the audacity to launch that 40-yard bomb when the game is on the line. Is Kubiak building a general or a soldier? That's the million-dollar question. I want your take. Is this Spartan discipline of Kubiak's what's going to pull us out of the mud, or is it too much control that's going to kill the magic in our offense? I'm torn, and I know a lot of you are too. Time will tell, but Mendoza's first impressions show the kid has character. Let's see if that's enough to survive the meat grinder that is the AFC West. Raiders fans, this is getting serious. The defensive line could be getting a silent but physical piece that changes everything. Fernando Glint, Yuri Madel, Watcher Wantrevia, Bull Creasy, Chanagali, Smart and Sense, feeling. He knows the system. He was here with Patrick Graham, but now the baton is his. And the position group that worries me the most is defensive tackle. It's a massive question mark, a patch of ground where any mistake could be fatal. But there's something going on in there that's fascinating. The level of loyalty this guy, Rob Leonard, has earned from the players is wild. Jonah Laulu said he would literally die for him. Do you have any idea what that means in an NFL locker room these days? The guy isn't a coordinator with decades of experience. He could have been replaced by some big-name retread, but the front office bet on him. Why? Because he masters the human element. He's got the locker room in his hand. And let's be honest, a united locker room is halfway to a defense that plays with heart. But, again, I gotta be the wet blanket here. Motivation wins high school games. In the NFL, scheme and execution win championships. Having a coordinator the players love is great, but can he put together a defensive scheme that stops the elite offenses we're gonna face in the AFC? And what about Laulu, the best-kept secret of the Raiders? The guys at Bleacher Report already said it. He's an elite interior pass rusher, but against the run, he still struggles. And what happens when we face a team like Kansas City? They're going to exploit that weakness until there's nothing left. If that really happens and we face a dominant offensive line, is Laulu going to be our weak link? Or is the return of Travis Smith, a guy with 10 years in the house as the defensive line coach, the missing piece to turn this group into an elite unit? Smith is pumped to be back. He values the culture of the place. But is nostalgia what we need to win in 2026? We're balancing new leadership, a rotational player who needs to prove he's more than just a sub-package specialist, and a coach returning in search of redemption. That's a lot of gambling for a defense that needs to deliver results yesterday. We saw it last year, a unit that played well but collapsed in the crucial moments. Is the tactical shift everyone is expecting, an aggressive increase in blitz rate like the insiders are hinting at, the right way? Or are we just going to open up more holes in the secondary? The question I have for you watching right now, is this bet on Leonard's locker room culture going to translate into sacks and game-saving stops, or are we just delaying the inevitable defensive collapse? Is Laulu ready to be a 17-game starter, or is he just a flash in the pan? I see a lot of potential, but we've been let down by promises in this franchise so many times that my skepticism is my shield. Leonard has the chance to be a legend in Vegas if he turns these guys into a respected unit, but if he fails, the next name on the firing list is going to be his. What do you think? Do you trust Leonard, or do you see this movie ending badly? Leave your comment, let's debate, because this defense is what separates us from a mediocre year or a year of glory. We're heading into a season that promises everything, but one that carries uncertainties that can't be swept under the rug. The future of our franchise is being drawn right now, and the signs are mixed. Between the questionable support for a former player, the extreme psychological pressure Klint Kubiak is putting on our rookie QB, Fernando Mendoza, and a risky bet on our defensive leadership with Rob Leonard, the only certainty is that stability doesn't live in Las Vegas. The pieces have been moved on the board, the roster has been reinforced with names like Kwity Paye and Quay Walker, but the final execution remains a question mark that keeps anyone up at night. We're coming off a 2025 with only 3 wins, and the transition plan led by John Spytek and Tom Brady needs concrete results. We're not here just to participate in a rebuilding year. The Raider Nation deserves the respect that our shield carries. What we saw today, the blind dedication of players to unproven schemes, and the all-in bet on a college talent now facing the rigors of the NFL, puts us at a dangerous crossroads. Either this new ecosystem finally gets us out of mediocrity, or we're just delaying an implosion that could last a few more years. The pieces are on the board, the clock is ticking, and now I want to know your honest opinion. Is this Spartan discipline and the all-in bet on locker room culture the right path to glory, or are we watching a serious problem grow quietly under our noses? The road to relevance in the AFC West has never been easy, and 2026 will be the ultimate test. Comment below, argue with other fans, and hit that like button to support the channel. The future is now.